Our next guest has an intriguing company with a commodity that has compelling price dynamic. The commodity is bauxite, refractory grade super calcined bauxite, or RASC. To educate us on the commodity and his project in Guyana is First Bauxite's president and director, Yannis Tsitos. Yannis, thanks for coming today.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the invitation.
You have a background as a physicist and a geophysicist, and also with BHP. So why don't you tell us, what did you do with BHP?
With BHP, I worked there for about 18 years, and half my career with them was I was a geophysicist, so I ended up being a chief geophysicist for South America. And the other half of the career, about 10 years, was as a business development manager based in Vancouver with a global reach.
When did you start this company? How did it come about?
I met Hilbert Sills in 2006, and Hilbert Sills is the CEO, the current CEO of First Bauxite Corporation,
okay.
But he was the original inventor and owner of the properties in Guyana. We analyzed as First Bauxite the opportunity, the economics of the project, the quality and technical information of the project. We had the long discussions with Hilbert and obviously analyzing the risks of the country and the refractory business. And we came to the conclusion that this is an amazing opportunity and we had to jump in.
What is bauxite?
Bauxite is the prime source of aluminum metal, of course. And 90 to 95% of the gold bauxite ends up to become aluminum metal. The 5% to 10%, however, of the gold bauxite is fit to be used in various industrial applications. One of them is the construction of refractories, and normally the high alumina bauxite goes into this application. So therefore, the refractories, the business of refractories is a basic product, is very well known among the engineering industry. The construction of refractories is absolutely necessary for the production of steel, cement, or any pyrometallurgical process that we may use to melt or have some chemical reaction into a kiln or a furnace. Therefore, you need to use these refractories that keep the heat inside the furnace and do not melt the furnace there. In order to produce refractories, you need to have high alumina, low iron oxide content, no alkalis, and therefore about probably 99% of the gold bauxite is unfit to make refractories. It's a unique product, and you need to have this original source of high quality and high alumina content.
And obviously you're finding that.
Exactly, and there is a tremendous demand out there. This is a basic product. You cannot operate some of these major industries, from petrochemicals to cement to steel, which consumes probably more than 60% of the gold refractories at the moment, without this product.
Without that product, okay. So there is demand.
There is tremendous demand, but on the supply side, we have some constraints.
Okay, let's talk about those. Guyana is one of the world's major centers. There are others in Africa and elsewhere. How much supply is going in there, and what could you be adding to that?
As it stands at the moment, China itself consumes probably more than 70% of the world refractory bauxite for its own needs. The balance of the bauxite produced in China or in Guyana, or small amounts of bauxite, refractory bauxite in other parts of the world, is for export purposes. Export to Europe, United States, Japan, Australia, India, etc. Okay, so China has managed to control at the moment about 90 to 95% of the world production.
Wow, yeah.
And the balance of countries producing some refractory bauxite, being Brazil, India, and Russia, we're talking about captive markets that they have deficiency and they need to import more refractory bauxite. If you are ThyssenKrupp or US Steel, or you want to buy refractory calcined bauxite, you can only find that from China or from Guyana. And in Guyana, the production comes out of a Chinese company called Bauxite Minerals. So therefore,
they hold two sides. Yeah. So what about the price then? Is China to some extent setting the price floor for bauxite?
Industrial Minerals out of Metal Bulletin out of London is the best publication that reports prices of negotiated contracts for industrial minerals, such as refractory calcined bauxite. And it reported very recently that China intends to put the floor price into its exports of refractory calcined bauxite, that being in the order of, between $400 and $500 per ton.
$400 and $500 per ton.
FOB at your ports.
Okay, let's talk about the deposit itself then. What kind of a target size are you looking at? I know you've got some resource estimates out there. What do you have, and what are you hoping to prove up?
We have 3 different projects in Guyana. The 2 of them are advanced projects, and one of them is now in feasibility study stage. We are probably about 80% complete there. We have announced to the public that this feasibility study will be public and filed at CEDAR.
This is Bonasica?
Yeah, this is Bonasica project within the Q1, the first quarter of 2010. Okay. And the second deposit is currently drilled for resource outline purposes. Bonasica is a low-hanging fruit, as we call it in First Bauxite Corporation, because it's very shallow and very high quality in terms of alumina content and low iron oxide.
So, in other words, it fits into that characterization of refractory grade.
Exactly. Okay. And the intention for First Bauxite is to come to the market within about 15 to 18 months from the time we press the button to develop the project, and that will happen in the coming 2 months, as I said, at the position of 100,000 metric tons of refractory calcined production per annum. 100,000
metric tons per annum, and you're looking at $400 to $500 dollars per ton at the price that China seems to be setting anyway. What about the cost then?
Operating costs are coming pretty reasonable. They come definitely at the $200 per ton at the moment, but I would like to put a disclaimer here that we do not have the final report of feasibility study yet.
That's coming up.
Yes, that's coming up in about 6 to 8 weeks. But we feel very comfortable. All metallurgical tests are working fine. We work now in fine details on the capital expenditure and operating costs, but they will be added to $200, and therefore the profit margin, given the prices you just mentioned, is at least 100%.
It's phenomenal.
It's phenomenal.
Let's talk a bit about infrastructure then. You've got low cost, and part of that obviously is that you're right near a port, if I understand correctly, or a river rather.
It's a navigable river, correct. So we are 23 kilometers. Bonasica is located 23 kilometers from the river, and the port we will export FOB at our port is going to be 45 kilometers upstream along the river from the capital Georgetown and the Atlantic Ocean.
So I think we should go back to Warratilla, because it sounds like this is, you've got what you said is the low-hanging fruit at Bonasica. Warratilla is, let's see, how far from that deposit, from Bonasica, is it? And to what extent is it low-hanging fruit also?
Warratilla is, from historical drilling of Alcan in the 60s, has been proven to be 5 times bigger than Bonasica.
Alcan drilled this already?
Yes, they discovered that projects in the 60s. Warratilla has only 69 holes, Bonasica had more, and we have drilled as First Bauxite about 500 holes to date for the feasibility study. In Warratilla, we are drilling about 2 holes a day as we start, and you understand drilling bauxite is like drilling butter almost. You go to about 30 to 40 meters depth, and you drill about 2 holes a day with sonic technology. So Warratilla, it's much bigger, but it's at greater depth. Okay.
So you've got more overburden.
The strip ratio of Bonasica we expect to be between 1:1 and 3:1 on one of the parts of Bonasica. The strip ratio in Warratilla is going to be between 3 and 5:1. But to put this thing in perspective, in comparison to the other operations in Guyana, the Chinese company Bauxite operates at the strip ratio of higher than 7:1, and Rusal, exporting metallurgical bauxite from Guyana, operates at the strip ratio 9 to 10:1.
So in you didn't say it directly, but I guess your target size, based on the 100,000 tons per year, and what you said, it sounds like a couple million tons possibly.
Yes, we hope, and that's what we have put out to the public, that the mine life of Bonasica will be about 9 to 10 years long, at 100,000 tons production per annum. But in year 2 or 3, and pending on financing, we will expand the operation. We have enough resource in Warratilla to move to 300,000 tons or 500,000 tons.
5 times bigger.
Yeah, exactly, so, and move on to occupy a bigger share of the market in Europe, United States, Japan.